Well, careful right here. If you go down, you're not coming back up. Well, we've got a big hike planned for today, which we'll tell you about in just a few minutes. But first, we've stopped in Castle Rock, Washington to visit the Castle Rock Bakery.
Let's go get some goodies for breakfast. So this is a cute little place with a few areas to sit. Looks like there are 3 tables with 2 chairs each, and then a couple of stuffed chairs.
Yeah, there's no one else here at the moment, so we may have this place to ourselves. You know, a lot of people do takeout when it comes to donuts, and we actually won't be here long since we have a bit of a drive before we reach our trailhead today.
We ordered 3 items this morning to split. A chocolate dip.
That's mainly for me.
A cinnamon bun that is just loaded with creamy frosting, and a jelly-filled donut.
Well, now that we're all fueled up by those sugary treats.
They were delicious.
And they were quite yummy, weren't they?
They were.
We are going to take on our hike for the day. We are at Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument, and we're going to be taking the Hummocks Trail combined with the Boundary Trail out to Johnston Ridge Observatory, and it could be a long day.
Yeah, it's somewhere between 10 and 13 miles. We don't know exactly, and it has a lot of climbing.
It does. There should be some great views out today. Our original plan was to summit Mount St. Helens, but we were unable to acquire the necessary permits to climb to the top. So we're going to do this kind of secondary trail that we had in mind and get some great views from the side of the volcano. Let's go.
Let's go.
So this first section of trail is taking us through a combination of wooded sections and some open meadows with an occasional view of some of these little ponds.
Yeah, it's really peaceful here with the birds welcoming us with their singing.
We haven't seen anyone else out here so far, just us and the birds.
Yep.
Those mounds that you see to the left and the right ahead, those are hummocks, and they are piles of debris from an eruption of a volcano. Those two are from the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens, which is about 15 to 18 miles away. That's a big blast zone. Oh, Paula, look up there to the left. What's coming around the corner there? As we round the corner, you can just see that we have our first view here of Mount St. Helens, and she's a beauty.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot more views coming up, but this is a great start.
It really is. Well, we made it to the junction of the Boundary Trail, and so we've exited the Hummocks Trail. We'll pick that back up towards the end of our hike today. For now, we are headed towards the Johnston Ridge Observatory with a stop at the Lewitt Overlook, somewhere along the way.
Woo. We knew there'd be some climbing.
Oh, wow.
Well, we're just a little under 2 miles in, and we have been treated to some amazing views.
We really have, especially after we connected with the Boundary Trail.
Right.
We have been treated to some wonderful views of Mount St. Helens, and not just Mount St. Helens.
Yeah, the rest of the views from the trail are beautiful too.
It's gorgeous out today. It was really overcast this morning when we first got up, and we were kind of afraid it was going to be another gray and dreary day, but it has turned into a beautiful one.
Yeah, it's sunny and getting really warm, so we're going to have to make sure we drink plenty of water.
Yes, as we drink in plenty of these views.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So we're on the western side of the volcano and are getting some really good looks at the crater where the top blew during the 1980 eruption, and lots of hummocks, as we can see, for miles and miles of the blast zone. That eruption just changed the landscape, and here we are over 40 years later with signs of the blast still very visible.
Yeah, and it's also quite windy out here in the open area, which feels really nice, but we're just going to need to watch our balance in a few sections for as slides possible.
So the road to the Johnston Ridge Observatory is closed due to a massive landslide that took place last month, and they may not have that road back open anytime this season. So the only way to get to the viewpoint that we're headed to is this trail.
Right, and we've only seen one other person out on the trail. It's been kind of nice being out here all by yourself.
So we stopped for lunch, which today consists of our usual hike lunch, and that is a peanut butter sandwich. And what a viewpoint we have for it.
Oh, it is amazing.
Gorgeous. So this is the direct view in front of our eyes right now as we are having our peanut butter sandwich for lunch. Kind of hard to beat that. Well, Paula, what we got going on here?
Well, when we set our bags down and we climbed up to our seat, we got a few rocks and a little sand in there.
Hey, just think, that is from a blast of the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens. That's a piece of history you got right there in your backpack.
Oh, me.
That's a little tricky there, Paula.
Yeah, that's not my favorite. We've been walking through this large area where there are a bunch of tree stumps left where trees were just destroyed during the blast.
Do not slip through here, Paula.
Right. Yeah, keep an eye on your feet, huh?
Keep an eye on your feet. If you go down here, you're not coming back. Well, we are temporarily leaving the view of Mount St. Helens behind and heading into a thick evergreen forest. And isn't that just gorgeous? Beautiful.
Here's a little tip. When you're hiking, always make sure you look in front of you and then turn around and take a look behind you, because some of the best views are that way.
So Washington is one of those states that sometimes gets forgotten when it comes to natural beauty, but between this place and Olympic National Park, Mount Rainier National Park, and North Cascades National Park, this is a great destination if you like the outdoors.
Yeah, and we haven't spent much time in the Pacific Northwest, so this area was really high on our list, and we are loving it.
We sure are.
Easy going, Paula.
Yep.
Very loose. Few little exposed areas.
Yeah, I don't like them.
You like the views though?
I like the views.
So we've made our way through several tricky sections with some loose footing here and there, a few drops, and a little bit of technical terrain. It's not too concerning, but it is a little bit sketchier than it probably looks on camera.
Yeah, it's been a little concerning to me, but Jimmy's been helping me through it, and it's not been really scary, but I just don't like any kind of spot where you can slip.
Yeah, I kind of know what her comfort zone is, and whenever we get to a place on any hike that's a little more than she likes, I go first and kind of tell her what I think is the best approach, and it's worked really well for us so far.
Yeah, it does.
Well, this is just gorgeous. I feel like we could just turn back now, and this would have been a very satisfying hike today with these views.
That is so true. I don't know what's still to come, but we've got Mount St. Helens right in front of us with this incredible scenery as far as we can see.
Yeah, it's a little hazy, but the contrast between the greens and blues and the grays and the tans makes for a really dramatic look today. And I am just loving that sweeping panorama.
Me too.
Not sure if you can see it, but the trail follows that ridge line, and we're going to go all the way up to the observatory up here. Still got a bit of climbing to go, but we can at least see the turnaround point in view. Well, we made it to the Lewitt Overlook, and the views are amazing.
They are gorgeous. Oh.
The wind has picked up.
Yes.
It is quite breezy up here.
Feels kind of good.
It does feel good after that hard hike up to here.
Yeah, it does.
We still have quite a bit of climbing to get to the final turnaround spot. Probably
3/4 of a mile.
400 or 500 feet of climbing, I would imagine,
yeah.
remain. And so we're going to get going on that.
So we didn't even think about recording a panorama shot from Lewitt Overlook, but we will try to remember doing that on our return trip. It is worth noting that there are quite a few trails in Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument. Some are much shorter than what we're doing today, and all of them offer some amazing views.
Yeah, you've got plenty of options, so whatever skill level or amount of time you have, there's something for you.
All right, Paula, watch out through here.
Okay.
This is pretty narrow and a long fall down. The smell of these wildflowers is invigorating, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, it smells so good. Just kind of gives me a little extra pep in my step as we approach this final ascent. As you can see on screen here, there are probably half a dozen cars in this parking lot. And perhaps you're thinking, Jimmy and Paula, didn't you say earlier that there was no access to this area because of the huge landslide? Well, that is true. These cars were actually trapped here after the landslide and could not get back down. They were stuck.
It's kind of interesting to think that people's cars are still here a month later and they don't expect to open this road for the rest of this year. So I don't know if they came and got their stuff out of their cars or what happened.
I hope some of them were rentals or something and wasn't their everyday car.
Right.
We made it, Paula.
Yay, we made it.
That is an amazing view, isn't it?
Yes, it is centered up right in front of us.
And you get all kinds of additional views off to the left. Oh, wow.
Just look at that, will you? This is where you say, yes, gladly.
Yes, I will. It is so weird that we're the only people up here. We talked to some locals and they said normally this time of year it would be packed, and it's weird to be out here by ourselves. So it's really weird to be the only people up here.
It's kind of like a ghost town.
It is like a ghost town.
This is really wild. At 8:32 a.m., the Mount St. Helens summit was intact. 33 seconds later, it had blown completely to smithereens. That is crazy.
So here is a great close-up view of the crater, and you can just see the blast just took the top off of that mountain.
There's what appears to be a short paved walkway that leads to some additional views, so we're going to go explore up here just a bit.
Yeah, and as we make our way up here, we'll take some footage to let you guys see whatever we see. And what I'm seeing right now are some nice lower peaks with lots of evergreens dotting that horizon.
Yeah, visibility is really good right now. We can see for quite a distance.
Well, I think we're going to wrap this up and head back in just a moment, but I can't even describe how cool it is to be up here with this place just completely vacant. What a crazy experience this is for us.
Well, the return trip has started. We got about 5.5 miles back. Should be almost all downhill. So we're pretty excited about that.
Okay, so we're back at Lewitt Overlook, and here is that panel that we promised you guys. Paula, I actually think I like the view here better than the one at the observatory. At least I like it as much.
Yeah, you're getting views of this ridgeline that make this view different than the others. They're all great views out here no matter where you're at.
Yeah, and while we do prefer loop hikes rather than out and back hikes, returning on the same trail does allow us to see views we might have missed earlier since we're now headed in the opposite direction. But it really doesn't matter what direction we're going to go in, we're facing the wind. It's a headwind everywhere.
That's right. And we do have to go back through a couple of those sketchy sections, but at least now we know how to navigate
Yes,
them.
we do.
Ooh, that's a scary section. Sketchy. Not a fan of that section, are you?
No, I don't like that one going, but going down is even worse.
I'm not a huge fan of it myself.
I think that's the worst of it.
Don't look down. This is tricky.
Well, we think all the loose footing sections with the slopes and the drops are behind us, and it should be smooth sailing for the rest of the day.
I hope so, and I'm ready to get back to the mission machine and get some food.
Yeah, that energy from the donuts and peanut butter that we had earlier today wore off a long time ago. We do have plenty of snacks with us, but having a hot meal will be really nice.
It will.
One thing we will say about this trail that you need to know if you decide to hike it, it's about 95% exposed to the sun. There's a couple little tiny sections of just a minute or two where you're in some trees, but everything else you pretty much have no cover.
Right, so you need to make sure you wear sunscreen and bring plenty of water.
Indeed. Today it's not too bad. It is warm today. It's starting to warm up now, but it's only in the low 70s, I think.
I would think.
And there's a little bit of a breeze, so it's not too bad. If it was any hotter than this, though, it would be a little bit different experience for sure. Well, that hike was awesome, wasn't it?
Oh, it was so gorgeous.
It blew away my expectations.
Yeah, it did.
You didn't see what I did there, did you?
Blew away.
Blew away.
I got you.
Eruption, 1980. Mount St. Helens reference. You got it now. Sometimes I got to spell these things out.
You do.
Sometimes I confuse myself. So sometimes Paula has to spell them out what I just said.
Right.
It was really cool though. We got about 11 miles of hiking in today, 2,000 feet of climbing. We did decide to skip the other part of the loop on the Hummocks Trail. It felt like we were pretty satisfied with all the views that we got.
It had just been so good.
Yeah, so it was awesome. One of the things I really liked about even though it was 2,000 feet of climbing, is it was mostly gradual climbing.
Right, no big steps and stuff like that.
Yeah, it wasn't real steep at any point, and the terrain was really nice, so it wasn't a lot of rocks that you had to step over.
There were a couple of ledges out there, those little sandy spots that you could slide down. I didn't like very much.
Right, exactly. Other than that, it was a really good hike. And to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed we weren't going to get to summit Mount St. Helens, but this B hike actually turned into be an A+ hike, I think. I'm glad it turned out how it did, because I can't imagine anything being better than what we ended up getting in today.
Right, the views were just amazing.
But that's going to do it for today's episode. We've got some additional things upcoming that you're going to want to stick around for that.
That's it for our mission. What's your mission?
In 3, 2, 1. What you were saying? I thought you were saying in the beginning. I think so. In 3, 2, 1.
I thought you were saying. I got it.
Okay,
I'll say
so
it. I'm going to say we're about 2 miles in and we've been treated to some nice views.
Okay, you count us down.
3, 2, 1.
All right, this is what it's like to run down this.
Well, hey there, guys. It's Jimmy here. Our mission in every episode of this vlog is to share one of our fun-filled adventures with you guys. But our greater mission in life is to share our hope and happiness with you. One of the ways we do this is by giving away digital copies of my book, There is Joy for You, which we believe will help you in your own spiritual journey. You can get it at no cost by dropping by jimmybrown.com, scrolling down to the book, and clicking on the download button to read it on your favorite device. There is no list to join and no price to pay. It's just our way of trying to be a blessing to you. It's only 39 pages long, so it won't take you long to read it. I hope you'll check it out. You want it, I want it, we all want it. The good news is God wants us to have it too. There is joy for you.